So I think some of you are in a big storm right now, and we don't have the snow yet. It's on its way. We have cold that we don't normally have right now. This is like what I call Ontario cold, like North Hastings cold is what we're experiencing here, which is not much fun because I have softened over the years that I've been here in Nova Scotia. I'm a wimp, which is why I'm wearing my house toque. And so we're going to do a practice today that's going to warm us a little bit. And then I'll be nice and warm and preparing for a big dump of snow, which I think some of you folks in Ontario and through the US have already received. So it sounds like we're going to get sloppy seconds here in Nova Scotia today and over the next couple of days. So I hope everybody's well. I'm also not in my usual home today. I'm at my cottage or my Airbnb because we've been replacing a shower over the weekend. So I've moved here with the dogs for the weekend, and I had to remind myself how I set up for a class here. Anyway, all good. So let's get started actually in a standing posture today. So I had a great request last night from one of our kind of community members who really wanted to do some active mobility with some music, and that'll likely show up next week. But this week, what we're going to do is we're going to work on some of the physical postures that will work into that piece. And it's a nice way to warm up. Again, it's using the big muscles of the body. So think kind of quads, glutes, core. And when we use those big muscles, heat is generated. So you don't have to work that hard, but when you use the big guys, that nice heat will flow. So we're going to start, and if you don't want to use your mat for this, you can kind of fling your mat out of the way. But let's just start at one end here, and you're just going to mirror me. So we'll start very slow to begin. Nice and tall, kind of pull up and back through the core. Shoulders are back, nice long neck. Just drop your arms for a moment. Good. And then all we want to do is bring our feet out on a slight angle. You're going to see kind of the dance influence coming in through this. And then we want to step together. So you kind of tap your heels, step, and point. So simple, right? And then we go back the other way. If you don't know what to do with your arms, arms can be out, hands can be here, whatever you like. So we're going to kind of come down, heel, down, tap, back again. You can see this would be so much more enjoyable with the music. And down, tap, down, point. Heel, point. Heel, point. Heel, point. Great. Now let's change it up a little bit. Bring your arms out. And now we're going to add a little bit of range of motion with the arms. So we step together, step. And as we point, sweep the arm up. Excellent. And then we down and up. So we're going to go back and forth. Lots of control. Perfect. Good. So let's take a moment here and let's just add some balance and range of motion. So we're going to do a little bit of we're kind of bending the knees. Bring your heel to the arch. Lift up. So this is what we would call a passe. So it's not a tree pose. You're not actually jamming on the knee, but try and lift up as high as the knee. Bring the foot down, apart, down. So we come into this plie, heels to the arch, lift up, down, apart, down. So we come into this plie, heels to the arch, lift up, down, and out. So let's do a few of these. Down, touch, down, apart, down, touch, down, apart, down, touch, down, apart, down, touch, down, apart. Good. How wonderful is this? Let's put it all together. This is, again, just a way to get the body working, and we'll see if we're generating some more. I'm not gonna lie, I've still got sunshine because the snow is not here yet, and it's beautiful. So I feel the more of this that I embrace today, the better as I'm digging out in the days ahead. So we'll start again on this side of the mat, shoulders back, arms wherever you're comfortable, here or apart. And tap. And point. Maybe an arm. And an arm. Good. Now we come down. Lift. So we're moving to that arch. Few more here. Beautiful. We're going to go through one more variation of this. This is where it starts to get fun. You all know by now, the minute I say fun, it's like, you got to take that with a grain of salt because my idea of fun might not be applicable to anyone else. But this time we're going to turn this into a little bit of a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more of a chassé. So if you want to kind of leap through this, feel free. If not, do the original version, staying fairly grounded on the mat. So I'm going to bring my arms out for this. So normally we would go across and our point. But what I want to do, sometimes we go back here because talking through it while doing it doesn't always work for me. So we are going to step and point at an arm, and then you can do it with your little graceful leap. Land softly with lots of control. And last one. Beautiful. So this makes me so happy because I know for those of you who practice as a group, I'm imagining a little bit of chaos in your space. So thank you. Okay, so that's just a nice little gentle warm up. Now we're going to come into some more technical stuff. There are 4 little pieces that we're going to put together, and we're going to do them step by step by step. So for the first one, it's just a little bit of a leg lift. I'm going to turn slightly so you can get a better sense of my positioning. I'm going to support on my left leg. I'm going to be working through my right leg to begin. My hands are going to be forward. Yours can be wherever you want. So in my supporting leg, you can see it's a little bit bent and my foot is out on a slight angle. So from here, start with your toe back on the floor, nice and tight through the core, shoulders back. And all we're going to do is lift and down. You want to feel that you're stretching through that leg. So it doesn't matter how high you're lifting, just get it off the ground a little bit. So lift and down, lift and down. A few more of these. I think this is 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. Now let's add an arm. And we're going to use the opposite arm. So this time as I lift, my opposite arm is going to come up, kind of like a scissor move. So again, from the side, shoulders back. And I've got my other arm just kind of formally in front now with a nice, beautiful hand. So we're going to lift. And 2, 3. Make sure that supporting leg is bent. I think this is 6, and 7, and 8. Good. Now from here, taking that right leg or whichever leg you're using, I'm going to step behind. So this is a little bit of a cross squat or a curtsy squat. So we're coming down and then try and just come to center. You don't have to go all the way to the side. So we're going to come down and back. Good. And this would be 4. Keep the chest proud. 5, 6, 7, and 8. We can add an arm. So the direction that your foot is going here, bring the arm out. So we go 1 and 2, 3, and 4. It can be flowy. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. The next piece is side. Supporting leg is still bent a little bit. Lean forward maybe if it feels good. And then tap behind. So you don't have to go all the way over, just to that kind of nice line up with the hips. So we'll go side and back. This is 2 and 3. I feel this one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's add some arms. So we open and 2, 3. Are you feeling that heat now? Because I am. And 5, 6, 7, 8. Step back. This leg taps. So we go 1, lift, 2, lift, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's super fun when we add the arms to this. We start here and we're going to do a reverse circle or whatever shape that might happen to be. I don't know, it feels like a circle. Okay, so we're back and we lift, lift, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. I can tell you for a fact, this range of motion, if you have kind of chronic tech neck happening because you're doing a lot of this reverse range of motion is phenomenal for kind of getting the fascia moving and getting through some of that discomfort. So keep that in your back pocket. Okay, we've done those 4 pieces. Now the fun begins. We're going to put them all together. I'm going to move up a tiny bit so I have space. If your brain is not loving this, don't worry, you'll get it over time. So we start again. I'm going to start supporting on what is my left leg, maybe your right leg. So we start from the beginning. You can do the arms, or maybe we do it with the arms. You decide. So we start with a lift and down. Back cross and down. Side, lift. I can't do that without the arms. So that's all we're doing. So we lift up, cross, side, lift, back, cross, side, and here we go with the arms, opposite, out. Beautiful. I see chaos, and that's what I like to see. We'll do a few more. Lift, side, other side, and sweep up. Lift, over. Is anybody saying, what the heck? This isn't yoga? You're right. Let's do last one here. Think about how much fun this is going to be when we put it to music. And you're like, ah! Now think about how much fun this is because we're going to do the other side. Okay. Set up any way you need to. Take a deep breath. Maybe just a little shake the hands. A little stim is a great way to settle down the brain, especially if your brain is going, oh no. And I'm in these moments, I'm kind of missing having all the people in front of me. And especially shout out to Gloria, because I'm sure you have a lot of comments right now. Okay, good. So let's do the other side. So I'm going to start weight bearing now on my right leg. So it's my left leg. So we start with just the lift. I should not kick my couch. So we do a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With the arm, 1 and 2, 3. Supporting leg is bent. 4, 5, 6. Really reach 7 and 8. Good. Then we come behind and center. So I'm crossing and my leg is staying back, if this is helpful. Now I'm confused myself. I think this is 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we add the arm. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Good. Now we go to the other side. So we come, and what's happening is my leg is back, and then it's kind of coming forward. So lining up here. So I'm behind, and then lined up. So we'll go 1. This is where I really feel it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Holy glute work. Let's go arms. 1. Lots of breath. And 6, 7, and 8. Now we tap 1 and back. Little lift and back. This is 3. You can go as high as low as you want. And 6, and 7, and 8. Let's add the arms. Sweep forward. And 3. Good. 4, 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. Excellent. Okay. Shake it out. We're going to put it all together. In all your little boxes, I'm seeing some of this happening. And that is exactly how you should be tackling this. With anything of this nature, it's going to make no sense until that moment where your brain goes, oh, like this. And that's a pretty great place to get to. Okie dokie. Supporting leg. Shoulders back. You can do with or without the arms, your choice. So I'm going to do, as I hit my sofa, let me move like this. Good. So we're going to lift and down. Side, side. And we lift again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. Lots of reaching. Which way to go. Open. Let's do maybe 2 more of these. So last round. Amazing. Shake it out. And some nice shoulder rolls. And let's take a nice wide stance. Sweeping up, big breath in. Reach, 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 reach. And then a beautiful forward fold. Just let yourself hang down. And slowly rolling up. All the way up. Reach, 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 reach. I'm going to lean to one side. All the way up. Reach to the other side. And up. And then swan dive forward again. All the way down. Hold it here for a few breaths. Tight through the core, sweeping back up. Reach for the sky. Leaning over to one side. All the way up. And to the other side. All the way up. And let your arms come down. Great. If you have a beverage, now is a great time to grab a sip. So if I look like I'm distracted, I am a little bit. So while we catch our breath, hopefully everybody feels warm now. I am sweating here, which is a nice sensation because right now it's about -18 outside, which doesn't sound bad, but there's a wind chill of -30. Burr. So I am a little bit distracted. So I'm looking out over the Bay of Fundy, so ocean, and it is so cold. How cold is it? So it's so cold that we have something happening today called sea smoke. So I'm not going to get into all the science, but I'll tell you what it looks like. And I took a little video earlier that I'll throw online after the class. But basically it gets so cold and it's like, I know it's not smoke, but it's like condensation or whatever. It looks like clouds forming, lifting off the water. And then it starts to swirl up into actual clouds. And it looks like all these little tornadoes all along the water. It's a really neat phenomenon to watch. I geek out over it. And if Dano were right here, he would be able to explain the science because he knows more than I do about that. Anyway, I love watching it. It makes the cold almost worthwhile. Almost. Okay. Let's come down into a downward facing dog. And from there, after doing that nice kind of work with our quads and our glutes, it would be a great plan to move into the pigeon pose. We have not done this for God knows how long. I do it a lot myself, but if you're not familiar with it, we'll take it bit by bit by bit. And maybe what I'll do is move my mat on a slight angle so that maybe there's better visibility here. So we'll start at the top of the mat. Another excuse for me to look out at the sea smoke. Let's sweep up nice and tall. And then swan dive forward. So coming all the way down, touch the floor. Take a moment here, let those hamstrings stretch. Maybe bend one knee, then the other. Let's come up to a flat back. And when I come to this posture, I'm pulling up through the core, I'm tucking through the hips. And this is a great time to really kind of challenge those hamstrings to stretch. Mine are talking back and they are not using ladylike language. All right, let's fold back down. Get your hands to the floor, and then we're going to step back into downward facing dog. From here, just take a moment and kind of walk the dog. So bend one knee, then the other, maybe adding a twist. And I think we'll add a step to this. So let's slowly sink to the hands and knees. I'm just realizing that I'm a little bit stiffer than I want to be going into pigeon. So that's why we're going to do an interim step. All right, so on the hands and knees, bring your toe knuckles together and start to ease back into your child's pose. Stretch the arms out in front. Take some really deep breaths. Good. Let's float back up to the hands and knees. Flip those toes and then up and back to downward facing dog. Sometimes just that one little bit can open up some tight areas. And then I'm going to invite you to bring your left knee towards the left hand. So I'm basically bringing my foot through the front. I hope that makes sense to folks. So back in the day, we used to teach that the shin would come right across the front of the mat. Now I keep my heel tucked in a little bit more towards the midline of the body. And I do that for comfort and because as I lose flexibility, I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to fight with myself. So my left knee is close to my left hand. My right hand is lined up with my left hand. And the left foot is back, not quite as far as the hip, but it's comfortable here. My right leg is extended out behind. So we're taking our time here and just kind of enjoying a little bit of all the things that are stretching. I'm going to take a moment to open up through the chest. So I want to roll my shoulders back and down, lifting up through heart center. And with that back foot, make sure it's not flopping out. Good. So if you're comfortable, if you're not comfortable, switch postures, maybe go back into a child's pose. If you are comfortable, try easing down to the forearms. This is a posture where people feel a lot of intensity, myself included. Make sure you can breathe deeply as you hold this. Do not grind your teeth. Smiling will help. Now, some folks like to drop further down, all the way down onto the floor. You could try that if you want. In whatever posture you're in, work your way back up onto the hands. I'm going to flip my back toes under. We're going to gracefully, and, and just like we are feathers in the wind, we're going to move up and back to downward facing dog. And then just taking a moment here to breathe. Good stuff. Okay, so to switch sides, I'm going to bring my right knee towards the right hand. And then I ease down into this posture for the other side. You will find that one side of the body is easier to negotiate than the other. That is normal. I wish for you that this is your good side. If it's not, again, think about, don't grind the teeth, breathe deeply. And we just have to use a little bit of patience while the body relaxes and releases. Make sure that back foot's not flopping out. Keep it active. Shoulders pull away from the ears. If you'd like to drop down to the forearms, enjoy. And if you want to come further down towards the floor, certainly you could do that. I think I'm going to stay a little bit upright here. Check your breath. All righty, I'm going to move my way back up onto my hands. Chest is lifted. Really nice stretch here. Maybe lean the head back, stretch through the neck. And then flip your back toes again. Lots of control, lots of grace. Pushing up and back to downward facing dog. Let's walk the hands back to the feet. Hold on to your elbows. Just kind of hang in space. And then release those arms. Let's roll up bit by bit by bit by bit. And a big shoulder roll. Beautiful. Okie dokie. Again, I just got to brag about the sunshine for a moment. It is gorgeous. Nice to have a little gift of sunshine before we are locked in. Okay. So moving on with kind of doing some of the big muscle work. Again, it's nice to enjoy a deep stretch between pieces of the practice. So we did kind of all the mobility work to warm our bodies as we started. That was also great for the brain. We were using all of those kind of deep, big muscle groups. Then we did that nice deep stretch to kind of release and relax, to lower the heart rate and to catch our breath. So now I want to go into a posture that does kind of a combination of all those things. and we're going to work on the eagle for a little bit. And the eagle is a fairly challenging balance posture. It's challenging because you need a little bit of flexibility and mobility to achieve it. But the other piece that I like for today more than anything else is your weight bearing on one leg. And that means quad work and glute work. So for the eagle, let's take it step by step by step. The downstairs is harder than the upstairs. Let's start with the upstairs. Bring an arm forward. Maybe I'll come out on a slight angle. So just bring an arm forward. Bend at your elbow. And then bring it to center. So you're kind of lining it up with your nose. The other arm comes under, up, and around. Now, obviously, I do this a lot. So my hands are coming together. You might find that you are not here, and that's just fine. You might find if you have extra luggage up top, you got to sit way on top or sneak up from below. I don't have that challenge. So just by virtue of the gifts that I did or did not receive, this is an easier posture for me. So as you wiggle the arms into this pose, think about where you're feeling it. I love this for a really nice stretch across the shoulder blades. And you can kind of start to move the arms up or down, maybe leaning one side or the other. Let's take a moment while we're still here with our arms. Step your feet a little bit wider apart, grip with your feet, bend at the knees, pull in through the core, and then just move forward a little bit, or as much as you want. When we change the positionality of the posture, we will be pulling and stretching different muscle groups, different parts of the fascia. Tighten through the core to lift up. And when we release, this is why it's called the eagle, untangle and extend your wings down. Excellent work. Let's do the arms on the other side. So I started with this arm. Now I'm going to go to this one. Center, bend at the elbow, under, up, and around. So this side might feel different for you. Maybe better, maybe less better. And again, just kind of explore. And then if you're feeling comfortable, maybe hinging forward with this as well. Roll your way back up. Untangle and release those beautiful wings. Good. Perfect. Alrighty, let's add the downstairs. So this is more challenging. And again, with what we're doing with this posture, we need to kind of wrap a leg over, behind, and then kind of grab on with your foot. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to step onto the supporting leg. The other leg comes over, behind. And as I come into a little bit of a squat, I'm holding on with that foot. You got to kind of fight the urge to just spin into this. I love it. You guys are doing great. And yeah, use your arms any way you need. I always find I'm a little bit more balanced when my arms are closer. Sorry, Jeff. And release the legs. Let's go to the other side. So weight bearing on one side, crossing over, and tucking behind. If you've got any discomfort in your knees, this might really suck. So if you're finding that that's a problem, you can just have your legs straight or a little bit bent, or you could do a tree pose and release it. Fabulous. I can tell that is using more of the big muscles, which of course are being used not only to hold us upright, but when it's a balanced posture, the muscles are working even more aggressively than they would otherwise. They're fighting against gravity in the most beautiful possible way one could fight. So to add the upstairs and the downstairs together, I like to get onto the leg, and then I add the arms. If I'm starting to weight bear on this leg, I want to wrap around the opposite arm. So just kind of think about that. Also fun for your brain because we are crossing the corpus callosum. Big words for a Sunday, I realize. Let's step onto a leg, setting up the downstairs if you feel like you'd like to give this a shot. Add the upstairs and breathe through your wobbles. Couple more breaths. And remember that beautiful release. Nice. Let's go to the other side. Stepping onto foot to find your hold. Wrapping around. Opposite arm. Few more deep breaths. And a beautiful release. Wonderful. Let's add this as part of a little bit of more of a flow. And it's really basic. We're just going to kind of step from side to side, in and out of the eagle. Do your best, or if this is not your jam, just play around with the posture. Oh, hi, Jeff. Any way you like. So I'm going to start down at one end of the mat. I'm going to step, add my leg, add my arms. 3 breaths. As I release, a big step across. And then wrapping up here. 3 breaths. Releasing. And wrapping up again. Releasing. Last time. Three deep breaths. Working towards release and relief. And let's let go of that eagle. Amazing. So you can all be thankful that, of course, classes always take more time than I imagine they will in my head when I start stacking all these postures. So you are forgiven lots of work on the chair pose, which is an amazing one to generate heat. But maybe you were warm enough already. So please join me down on the mat. We want to do some deep stretching before your well-deserved Shavasana. So once you've wiggled onto your mat, let's create a figure four with the legs. So I'm going to take the side of my left foot and rest it on the right knee. Two fingers on that left hand are going to press that knee away from my body. This is going to open up through that left hip. Breathe deeply. Release that. Pop your foot off the floor, pull everything in, maybe reaching through. Whatever you do, just make sure you're keeping your shoulders pinned to the floor. Good. And then let's release and set up on the other side. So side of the foot resting on the top of the opposite knee, two fingers pressing that knee away. We do the two fingers just because it's a little bit gentler than a whole hand jamming against that. And again, we're just being mindful of the hip joint. You can release, pop the foot, pull everything in, maybe reaching through. Again, the rule of thumb on this is keep your shoulders on the floor. And let's release here, pulling the knees into the tummy. Shoulders are back. Let's do the dead bug quickly because I love it. So we're going to extend the legs up, bring the feet apart, flex those feet. Heels are pointing towards the ceiling. Arms reach up. So this is where my shoulders do peel off the floor. I'm reaching, reaching, reaching. Lots of tension here. Tight through the core. And then soften. Feel the shoulders kind of flop back down. Feel that sense of peace and relaxation wash over you. And then very gently lower down into whatever posture feels good for Shavasana. Start to deepen your breath and start to bring awareness back to your physical self. Move your head from shoulder to shoulder. And then pull the left knee into your tummy. Switch it for the right. And then stretch out your legs, reach the arms up over top of your head. And then enjoy a big hug. So pull the knees into your tummy, hug them in nice and tight. And then move to a seated posture. Take a moment to notice how you're feeling. Notice if anything has shifted. And notice the difference to kind of how you felt at the beginning of the class, or maybe if you were having some frustration and not knowing where arms and legs needed to go. Think about now how you feel and just settle into that. Let's bring the hands together in front of the heart. This is where I love to thank everybody for showing up and being so wonderful and being willing to try different things. Maybe I didn't give you much choice, but thank you for not just logging off right away. I hope everybody's staying safe, staying warm, staying hopeful. And I really wish for everybody an amazing week ahead. My goodness, it's almost February. And that means we're a little bit closer to spring. Namaste.